Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of One of Each. I'm your host for this evening, John Shin, and of course, from wherever you guys are tuning in from across the world, I hope you guys are doing well. Remember, I said tuning, not tooting, not rooting, tooting, shooting. I'm talking tuning. We did this last week, remember? Tuning. I'm going to fix it, I promise you. Tuning. I actually had this whole script written out. I wanted to talk to you guys about an encounter that I had recently with a friend of mine who asked me, hey, John, how does it feel to be living in your 30s now? And how does it feel to be living alone in New York City as a 30-year-old man? And at first, it kind of felt to me like it was a violation thing. You know what I mean? He was kind of like jabs at me. But we're going to scrap that. We're going to call an audible. We're going to change it up. I wanted to talk to you guys about something that's a bit more hashtag good vibes. It starts off a little bit bad vibes, but good vibes nonetheless, which is this background. And now a couple of days ago, Mumsy came over and she was just, here to see how I was doing and whatnot. And she saw this background. She was like, oh, and she was speaking in Korean. She was like, what is this? What is this? She opened the doors. And the first thing that came out of her mouth was a huge sigh. And she was like, what are you doing? And she proceeded to go on a roast for about 5 minutes. She's like, what is this background? What's going to happen if you're trying to, woo a girl and impress her, and then she comes over and she sees this cheesy little background, and she was just going off roasting me. And then she went on top of that. She was like, you've been gaining weight recently. What's going on with your face skin? She jab after jab after jab. She was just going after me. And I was just thinking, damn, Mumsy, jeez, like you gotta let me rock. You know what I mean? But when somebody roasts you like that, it gets to you, you know what I mean? And I sat there, I was like, damn, maybe Mumsy is right. What if I am trying to actually impress a girl? Maybe things have been kicking off and we're on a roll, and, I'm inviting her over to my place. And then she sees this and she goes, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? Why do you have a bucket of a KFC bucket in your background? She might be asking questions like that. And fair point, you know what I mean? I have nothing to say to that. And for a split moment, I was going to let Mumsy get to me, but you know what I mean? Hashtag immaculate vibes. We endure, we persevere. You know what I mean? I wanted to make sure that I was straight with how I felt, because first things first, this background is for the show and for the YouTube channel. This represents who I am as a person. Jisung Park to this day and will forever be my role model, the icon, the legend in my heart forever and always. And that's pretty much my dream and ambition there. At least from a sporting content producing perspective, my dream is to one day meet him in person and interview him. And I think I could truly say I can die in peace at that point. Nike, of course, up there is one of my most favorite sportswear brands of time all. And this portrait This portrait right here is a portrait of a compilation of images from Naruto, which is a very famous anime from Japan, and it's a massive part of my life and who I am as a person, and it's just who I am as a person here on the wall. It represents me. Manchester United, of course, here. Stussy is just one of the many brands of fashion and apparel that I appreciate and enjoy. Of course, my adoration and love for food. 53rd and 6th halal guys, KFC. I don't really eat them as much anymore, but they're a special place in my heart. So I just wanted to shout them out. By the way, my channel's not that big, but if I ever do get big, hopefully, a cheeky little sponsorship from these guys wouldn't hurt, right? And of course, to top things all off, my guitar. My Mumsy always also looked at that. She's like, why the hell did you violate your guitar with stickers? And I was just like, hey, Mumsy, it's just cool. You know what I mean? I play that almost every day. So this is who I am as a person. And I think if I want to emanate good vibes, and if I want to emanate hashtag immaculate vibes, I just got to put it out there. See, this is who I am. I know privacy is very coveted and sought after these days. And of course, most things you should keep private and you should keep, close to your chest. But this right here represents John Shin, who I am, especially here on the YouTubes, right? So if you guys can help me get to, meeting the filthy fellas, interviewing Jisung Park, I'd always greatly appreciate it. But let's get on to talking to you guys about the person that I had the most pleasure having conversation with and interviewed today. He, not today, recorded a couple of weeks ago, but anyways, the man I had a chance to speak to was Mr. David Pritt. Dave is the secretary, kit man. The title is just for title's sake. He does almost everything for Stretford Paddock FC. He is the right-hand man of Stephen Howson for that football club. And I actually was a bit gutted because I wanted to do the interview in the kit that he sent me. This is the home kit that they wore last season of Paddock Football Club. Isn't this a beautiful kit? I mean, this red is I don't know if the camera captures it well, but it's such a juicy, wholesome red color. I absolutely love this. And before I even got to meet or speak to Dave in person, he actually reached out to me first because I actually ordered this kit to shout out my man, Mr. Cam Waters. I don't think Cam plays for Paddock anymore because he's too big now. He's too much of a fancy guy. He works for Manchester United, you know. But my guy Cam, I watched the Paddock games, and this was my man right there. And I ordered a custom kit for Cam Waters and David Pritt. He was the one actually making these shirts, I believe, and he was saying that the distribution was taking a bit too long, and he kept me updated. And that's where our relationship sort of blossomed. I wanted to speak to him because when I visited Manchester back in October, full disclosure, I was not doing well mentally. I was having a very tough time. I was hitting this mental block from all angles of life, and it was just a very, very tough moment in my life. And I was there for about maybe a day or two, I think 2 days, and I really didn't have much time to link up and speak to the Stretford Paddock family members, and I probably only had time to talk to Steve, Jay, and a couple of the other guys. I wanted to sit down and chat with, honestly, everybody because it felt so awesome going into the studio for the first time, and after all these years of doing work with Full-Time Devils and whatnot, going into the studio and having a chat with them, it felt to me like it was going to be that opportunity, but I just felt so mentally exhausted. The idea of COVID and all these things were just rushing through my mind, and it was just a very tough moment for me mentally during those times. And I knew of Dave. I wanted to sit down and speak to him, but I didn't even have a conversation other than the hello, which I felt horrible. I felt awful because I never do that. I mean, for those of you who know me, I'm not a social butterfly, but I definitely do love to reach out to people and, have a conversation and smile and have a pleasant time. But unfortunately, during those moments, I was just not straight in the head. And unfortunately, for Dave, he was also going through a similar situation, and he was also going through a mental struggle and a tough time. And it was actually ironic that we both wanted to apologize to each other because we both were going through something similar. And I felt bad for myself, and I felt bad for Dave. And thankfully for him and both myself, we are doing a lot better now. So hopefully it continues to stay this way. And Dave, this is a message for you. I know y'all gonna listen to this episode, but Dave, once I get back to Manchester, we're gonna have a swell old time. I don't drink, but we'll share a pint. We'll have a good time. We'll gather together with the Paddock fam once again, and chop it up over dinner. We'll have a good time. I promise you. And I owe you for this episode, right? And for those of you guys who are just joining us and you guys are brand new to the channel, this is all about good vibes here always. I mean, look, sometimes it's not good vibes always, but we try, right? We try. We endure, we persevere. Hope you guys enjoy this episode. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. If you guys have not yet done so, hit that notification bell so you guys are always staying up to date. And make sure you like the video, share it with all your friends and your loved ones. We're trying to hit 10K subs by the end of the summer here. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Without further ado, Mr. David Pritt. All right, Dave, welcome to the show, my man. Thank you so much for being on. I know you probably have. Steve tells me you're busy as hell doing all the Stretford Paddock work, but thank you for coming on.
Anytime, mate. It's a pleasure to come out.
Yes, sir. Okay, so before anything else, I know you and I have a bit of a discussion to have because when I flew to Manchester this past October. Look, we were still in the midst of the pandemic and we were all over the place. And I was only there for a very short period of time, but I kind of wanted to first, apologize because I didn't feel like I opened up and got myself involved with many of the Paddock folks as much as I would have loved to, because I was all over the place mentally. It was just the Omicron was going crazy and I had to get back home. And it was nuts. I know we sat down and we had a very brief chat, but I after all that, and now that we've sat down and talked to each other more, I really wish we could have linked up a little bit more deeper there.
Definitely, and I mean some of that was on my side. I wasn't in a good headspace at that point in time. So I was keeping myself to myself with, I don't know if you noticed, because we went for dinner with everyone, had a quick meal, and I was a bit low then. But yeah, I feel a bit guilty really, because obviously you were all the way over here and we didn't really chat, but it's great to be on here and have a chat with you anyway.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, so we're going to get straight into the first photo. All right, Dave, we couldn't start this episode without talking about Stretford Paddock FC. And I feel like this is the perfect place for us to start because, of course, Stretford Paddock is the football channel that talks about Manchester United. But for the people who don't know, talk to us a little bit about Stretford Paddock Football Club and what it stands for.
So we're a club who started in 2018. Is that right? No, that's not right.
Don't let's see here that one.
Basically, we're going to be starting our third season this year. We've just been accepted to the Cheshire League, which is Step 7 league, which means from now on we don't need to apply for any more leagues. We just go promotion after promotion. If we get 3 promotions in a row, we can start playing in the FA Cup.
Wow!
But basically, we're just a local community club, really, who more or less local players and people who enjoy playing football. We play some good competitive football. We have 4 teams, first team, reserves, development team, and under-21s. And basically, we're just out to have a good time and basically show the world that if you want to play football. There's no politics involved. It's just about having a good time and playing football.
I have so many questions I want to ask because I think this idea of grassroots football, especially in England, is very common and most people that are in the world of football understand the concept of it. But for the people around the world, they really don't know what it means to sort of climb through the ranks, especially here in America. In the States, there's no idea of this promotion relegation. So I do want to go into that, but there's so much to unpack here. I want to talk a little bit about you first before we get into Paddock. What is your role at Stretford Paddock FC right now?
Well, right now, I'm the club secretary, so I deal with all the league, I deal with the opposition, referees, pay all the paperwork and sorting things out. But originally, Steve asked me to be kit man, which I still help around and do. And originally, I turned it down. This was before the club actually started, when they were going to talking about doing it. Because on Saturdays, I was usually at Carrington watching United under-18s. Then COVID happened. There was no football. You couldn't go here, couldn't go there. And the only places you could watch football was grassroots level. And so I went to the very first pre-season game, you could call it, against Duckingfield. They got beat, but I was really impressed with what he'd managed to do in a short space of time. I didn't see any more pre-season games to the very last one. And then then it was in here, I think, doing a video. And he asked again, did I want to do it? And I said, yeah, what I'll do is I'll just help out until the under-18s are back. Then we had our first game was away against Bury, which we won our first league game. Then our second game against De La Salle was at Droylsden, first home game. And we had 200 and something people there. And I just fell in love. And I just thought, and you know, when a team scores, you know, like when United score, don't get me wrong, you great feeling, you know what it means. But when something you're involved with, when the team scores and you win a game, it just means that little bit more. And I've just fell in love with it, and it really something that I really needed to do, and I haven't missed a game since. Been working. Then halfway through the first season, I became club secretary, and I've been doing that role ever since. And yeah, I love everything about it, and it's something that I really needed to do because after COVID, especially, I was in a bad place. I was living alone at home during COVID without the internet broke, so I was just I was losing my mind, and honestly, this really did save me in a way. It's been something that I'll say to Steve, I can't thank him enough for what he's done for me to bring me on, because it's just been phenomenal, and I just love every single minute of it.
That's brilliant, man. That's awesome to hear. If there's one thing I can sort of, I guess, relate with you on, is that I've also been in a really dark place in the past couple of years especially during the peak of COVID. It was very difficult mentally, and I think that kind of darkness that one finds himself in, it's a really tough place to get out of. And just to see you, doing well with Stretford Paddock FC and Steve, giving you this opportunity, I think for me that's good vibes all around, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. But we'll move on to talking a little bit about the club itself. So you mentioned this idea of 3 promotions and you get to compete in the FA Cup. hypothetically speaking, is there an opportunity for a club like Stretford Paddock FC to potentially play in the Premier League? Is that sort of like something that could be possible?
It is possible. It's not Steve's goal. I don't think that he wants
Wow.
that, because at the end of the day, we're all United fans.
Right.
We don't really want to be competing against United or anything like that. We want to be basically a good semi-professional team. Maybe we want to be a stepping stone for people who have a young come to play for us and then move on to a professional club, or people who've dropped out the league and want to get back into playing football. But the way it works over here is you can start at the very lowest of lows. You know, we can play in Sunday League, where it's just you and your mates playing football. If you get a team together, and you can go, or if you keep winning and get promoted, you can make yourself all the way into the Premier League, into the Champions League. So it's don't get me wrong, not many people have done that. I don't think many people will, but it is a possibility. If we somehow, it's not going to happen, but say like we got massive fund, some billionaire decided to buy us and said, right, we're going to make you a Premier League team. It's possible. Well, that's in a way with American sports. I like some American sports, but I don't like the fact that you can't get relegated and no one can get in the lower league, get promoted. It's just they are what they are. And I don't think that's fair, really, because there's no ambitions for clubs to move up or be worried about going down.
Right. And the thing, and look, some people, I have this nickname here. Some people call me Benedict Arnold. It's actually hilarious. They think that they think that I advocate this European, UK sort of like superiority. But like you just mentioned there, Dave, I'm so also in agreement with you with respect to American sports. In America, especially in the NBA, NFL, the way the structure is set up is, it's not like climbing through the ranks. It's very much sort of like you're in this closed system, very much how the Super League was designed. You're in this closed system and there's nobody that can get in or get out. You sort of have to buy your ticket in. You have to have massive funds. You have to have this team ready to go in a massive injection of cash already set up in place. And then the way the players are sort of, I guess, introduced into the league is mostly via the collegiate system through colleges and things like that, which is very, very different from across the world.
We were talking about that before. It's a strange thing to me because I was speaking to before about it. I used Detroit Red Wings as a team that was using, because I spent a lot of time in Michigan. And I'm saying, if you grew up in Michigan and you were a hockey player and you decided my dream is to play for the Detroit Red Wings, you get through to college, and then the trouble is that then you get drafted, and it's not really up to you which team you play for. You're going to play for the Vancouver Canucks or the Maple Leafs. You don't really get a choice, and I don't think that's really right. I think you should be able to choose. They should. I just think the way the academy system works over here in our sports is the best thing, because you get to choose if you want to go. Don't get me wrong, look at someone like Ronaldo Brown, United fan. He went to Liverpool's academy, but it's because it's a great opportunity. But that was his choice. He didn't get plucked by Liverpool and said, you have to play for us. I think there's not enough choice on the players. And don't get me wrong, they are rewarded for it. They get well paid, especially in the NBA. But for me, there should be a choice of where you want to go and what you want to do.
Right. And I think here in America, if especially if I'm speaking to my friends, let's say, who are massive NBA fans, massive MLB, massive NFL fans, if I talk to them and sort of show them the slightest of disagreement with respect to how the American sporting system is set up, to them, it doesn't matter, because to them, at the end of the day, it's all about the competition that's ahead. And a lot of the conversations that they sort of shake at me is they say, look, NBA is the best basketball league in the world. And arguably, I can't deny that. However, for me, sport is all about inclusion. Sport is all about availability for everybody. And the idea of grassroots and the idea of allowing teams from the ground up to climb through the system, I think there's a massive beauty and struggle in that. And I think that's an amazing thing. And look, we could talk all day about Stretford Paddock FC, but before we move on, I wanted to ask you, what's been your most highlight moment for the club so far?
God, that's difficult. That really is. We had a couple of games this last season in a row. We played in the cup against East Manchester. Actually, in that picture there, third from the left on the bottom, Joe played against us for East Manchester. That's why we saw him. We signed him up. But we scored. It was 0-0, and then we got a free kick in injury time, and Kieran Malloy stepped up, scored, and it was just an amazing feeling. scoring the last minute winner. And then the following week in the league, I think we were 3-2 up. Or it was 2-2. We scored late on to make it 3-2. Then they equalised in the 90th minute. And then we get a corner in injury time, and Mohamed Al Masri heads the ball in for us to win it 4-3. And it was just 2 in a row where we scored in injury time. It was just unbelievable, really.
Wow. That feeling must be amazing.
Yeah, it really was. We got in trouble for it, but we're like running on the pitch and celebrating. Yeah.
Hey, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
All right. Well, what if I don't want to bring it back down, but has there been any moments where it's been very tough for you, or you remember any like extremely low moments running the club? Because look, in life, not everything can be all roses and beautiful things. You know, sometimes there are tough moments. Is there anything been like that at Paddock FC?
Yeah, well, the first season it got cut short due to COVID. That was terrible, really, because we were on to win the league. This season it ended disappointingly. We lost 2 games to the first and second position. How it ended, we ended up in third, just 3 points off the top. Just one result would have changed it, where we'd have won the league. So it was, heartbreaking at the end, really. But it's a learning curve, and like now we have shown that we're a decent team, and that's why we've gone into the Cheshire League, and now that's going to be a tougher competition, but it's going to be what will flourish in, hopefully.
I got 2 more questions for you. One, we'll talk a little bit about Steve, and then the next one we'll talk about the whole fan ownership. Steve, I saw when I visited Manchester, he asked me to come visit the training grounds, and I saw the whole training session happen. That was actually for me an amazing experience, because I've never seen a professional team train. I've never seen a team do football work. I've seen I've seen basketball teams. I've seen football teams. I've seen baseball teams. I've never seen a soccer team do that. What are your thoughts on Steve as a manager? Do you like the way he manages? Do you like the way he trains? Like, talk to me a little bit about Steve. And you don't have to go too deep into it, because I guarantee you he's going to pop out. He's going to hear his name. He's going to pop out.
Because he's right there.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. To be fair to him, his football knowledge is second to none. That's why his job he's got, and his YouTube, he does know what he's talking about, and that shows when he's coaching or telling the coaches what he wants and what we need. Like, I don't know if you saw it when you were there. We have, like, in the classroom presentations beforehand where he's got instructions and what he wants and what the drills are, and that's been a massive boost, really. If we can show the players what they need to be doing, and then they can replicate that on the pitch, it has made us a better team because of it.
Yeah, and I remember when I first met Steve in person through the internet, I thought he was going to bite my head off. He looked like this really scary dude. And when I met him in person, first of all, I was taller than everybody there besides Adam. And Steve just gave me the massivest hug. And I was like, this guy's such a warm fella. And at the training session, I loved how the connection was there between Steve and the players. You could clearly tell there's a sense of camaraderie, there's a sense of respect, and there's a sense of this, this bonding. And I love that about Steve. So just if this is an opportunity, Steve, if you're listening and if you're watching, I'm going to try and get you on another show. Look, I said nice things about you, you know what I mean? Because, people always say, Steve tells John to shut the fuck up. That's just the thing we have going on, you know what I mean? But anyways, let's wrap up the Paddock conversation about the newest project release. Of course, Paddock FC just recently what's the word here? Converted, I guess, to this 100+0 fan ownership.
Yeah,
so talk to me a little bit about that.
It's something Steve's been after for a while, and it's been unbelievable what's happened in the past few days. Really, we're close to 800 members now.
Wow,
which is crazy. So basically, it's going to be owned by you guys, the people who have bought into the club. All the decisions are made. Will be put down to votes and things like that, and that's where the owners decide what happens with the club. It's not there for anyone to make a profit or the club to make a profit. It's there to make the club the best option that's available. And without bigwigs basically making all the decisions, it's you guys.
Yeah, look, and to get into more detail, I'm going to actually try and get Steve on here so he can chat as much as he'd like about Paddock FC. But I'm just going to say this on the record now. Steve, I'm your boss now, you know what I mean? All right, I better move on before he hears that. All right, we're gonna move on to the second photo right now, Dave. All right, Dave. So this is the second photo. And before we went live, I actually had a bit of a stinker. I just realized it registered to me that behind you is New York City.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Well, I wanted to put this photo because it's something that I haven't done in a while. And I obviously before, especially with COVID's happened, but I used to love to travel a lot. And I'm the kind of person who, if you go on holiday or vacation, as you call it, I don't like to sit on a beach or sit by a pool and sunbathe and all inclusive drinks and stuff. I like to explore places where I like to go. And the reason I picked this picture because honestly, there's so much to do in New York. It was ridiculous. But I've been so many places really where I've gone to explore and just had a great time. And I mean, when I was 17, I went to China, went to Beijing, and that was a mad experience. I was just going around the streets of Beijing on my own at 17, just going here, there, and everywhere. It was amazing, really. But yeah, New York, I thought I'd bring that up because obviously you're there. And for me, it's one of the greatest places I've been to. I went when it was quite cold. It was, when was it? It was February of 2009 when I went. It was really cold, but
Wow.
But it was amazing. Honestly, one of the great places I've been to. And I spent a few days there just exploring, just getting on the subway, going here, there, and everywhere. I was there the last day. Shea Stadium was there before they knocked the last bit down. So yeah, for me, it's just about exploring, and yeah, I'd love to do it more, really.
Yeah, I mean, look, Dave. For the viewers on my channel, I always talk about traveling, and I always sort of emphasize its importance, and how I believe and strongly believe that traveling and exploring and learning about new things could potentially provide new perspectives and gives you lessons that you thought you would never learn living in the place that you are. And for you to tell me that you enjoy traveling and learning and things like that, that's awesome to hear, man.
That's the last place I went to. Was actually, I wouldn't have ever gone there if it wasn't for football. But I went in the Europa League when we played against Astana. I went to Kazakhstan.
Wow.
Went to Nur-Sultan there, and I'd never have gone there in a million years because why would anyone go to Kazakhstan? But you know what? but honestly, I'd go back again. I really enjoyed it. It was not what I expected at all. It was just, it was a weird thing where it was a modern city, but it had aspects of what it used to be. And yeah, that's what I really love. Really, it's if you just have to go into Spain or places or Mexico just to chill out and sit on the beach, get a suntan. For me, that's not the way to enjoy yourself. I think you've got to explore other places and find out what they're about.
Oh, well, speaking of traveling and sunbathing stuff, that's for me. I'm in the same boat as you. I definitely would much more prefer traveling into cities and learning about new cultures rather than sitting in front of a beach because I don't take to the sun. Well, I thought I used to, but not anymore. What was one of your maybe highlight memories of any recent trip so far? Anything that like strikes your mind?
Well, I'll tell you something about New York.
Yes, sir.
We'll talk about this in the next picture, but I like certain things. I'm a bit nerdy, but I love the Ghostbusters. I loved it as a kid.
Awesome.
And I went to, I think it's Ladder 8, went down, got the subway, got there, and that's the Ghostbusters building. So I took a few pictures and I thought, when am I going to be here again? So I knocked on the side of the door. Big burly fireman opens the door. Yeah. I said, hi, I'm from England. He goes, Ghostbusters. And I went, yeah. And he goes, come in. And he gave me a tour of the firehouse. And
wow,
I think they've put the sign on the front again now, but it was inside, and he said, "Oh, that's where they filmed this." And it was, amazing, really.
That's freaking awesome, man! Yeah. What the hell? You just walked in, they let you in?
I said to him, "How many people come and knock?" And he goes, "It's very rare that people actually come and knock and ask to come in."
Wow.
So awesome. so that was an amazing experience, really, because it's not really changed much as you can imagine. A firehouse, it is what it is. And it was like, this is where they did Ghostbusters.
Hey, Dave, look, I don't know if you are, not too, fond of sharing your nerdiness and whatnot. I am all for sharing whatever the hell you want to enjoy talking about and being who you are. We had Andy Tate come on here, and nobody in their wildest dreams would have thought Andy Tate would share his love for Transformers. I fucking loved every aspect of that. So, hey, if you got a nerdy side, we'll talk about it all the time, anytime. You know what I mean? And speaking of nerdy side, let's just get straight into the third photo then. All right, talk to me about this one because I couldn't look. I should be ashamed as a gamer. I should have known I should have recognized his face right away. But you can introduce us. Talk to me about this.
So me and my best friend Liam decided to get the train down to London one day. I don't know if we were working, but we just didn't go into work because Hideo Kojima was coming to London to sign copies of Metal Gear Solid 3 that had just come out. So being a big nerd, like I said, and being that the fact that Metal Gear Solid is still one of my favorite franchises that's happened, to actually meet the man, and Yoji Shinkawa, who does all the artwork, he was there too. This is one of my favorite pictures. It's a shame we were rushed through. We couldn't get an actual picture with him, but there's me on the right, a young me, Hideo Kojima in the middle. Or Hideo.
Awesome. This is awesome. Look, for those of you who are watching and you have no idea what Dave just said in the past minute or so, Metal Gear Solid is a game franchise. It involves a whole bunch of characters. I believe, if I remember correctly, his name was Snake, and my guy just goes around just being an absolute total badass. If you guys ever have free time and you want to get to explore some retro games or old school games, I strongly recommend the Metal Gear Solid series.
I think the whole timeline of the game span from 1962 to 2015 or something like that. So there's a whole history in there, and I've just grown up playing them and played every one of them, and it's just been me and my friend. That's why we become best friends. We knew we both like Metal Gear Solid, and that was it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's the beauty of games and hobbies and things like that. You can just meet people through connections and similarities and interests that you both share.
Yeah, definitely. And well, it's all aspects of it. I mean, at the moment, I'm in a bit of a retro mode. At the moment, I'm like playing Game Boy, and I've just cleaned up and updated my GameCube and playing that a lot, which I forgot how much I love that thing. So
I was actually going to ask you about that picture. I saw that you'd pretty much like completely disassembled the GameCube.
Oh yeah, well that was a spare one, so I just wanted to see how it worked, for the inside works, and it's quite simple really. It was a day I was bored, I didn't know what to do, so I thought, I'll take this apart.
Interesting.
But yeah, because on my other one, I'm gonna put parts in it to upgrade it a bit, so I just wanted to see how it works. But yeah, and things like that, I think I really enjoy, and people turn their nose up at it sometimes, but sometimes if it makes you smile, it makes you smile.
Yes, sir. That's right. All right, Dave, we're just about wrapping up the show. But before I let you go, I wanted to ask you a couple of things about what it means to be somebody in the football world. Do you find yourself being connected more so towards the sport itself or the team itself? And in other words, do you find yourself loving Stretford Paddock? Do you find yourself loving football? What's your relationship between the two now?
It used to be very different. I mean, when I was like in my late teens, early 20s, I was watching I supported United, and I still do, but I was watching all types of football, no matter what league it was, no matter what age group it was. I'd watch it. If I could go and watch it, I would, and just enjoy it. But now, I'm focusing on Stretford Paddock FC. I still watch United go. Like last season, I missed 3 home games due to the fact that I was at Paddock games, but I managed to go to the rest of the home games at Old Trafford. Paddock's been become a part of my life going forward now, and hopefully for a while. But United will always be there. I'll still get annoyed with United. Hopefully not for too long. Hopefully Ten Hag can turn it around and make us happy in the next few years. But I'm not counting my chickens just yet.
Yeah, we'll definitely speak the successes and good times back into existence. But one last question, Dave. I've actually seen you doing a lot more work on Paddocks and being in front of camera, doing under 18s and doing youth stuff. Are we going to see more of you on the Paddock channel?
Possibly, yeah. I'm probably looking more yes and no at the moment. To be fair, I don't really enjoy being on camera that much. It's not something that I really, I've had people recognise me a couple of times, and to be fair, I don't like that at all. And I don't know if you know, I took a 6-month hiatus from doing the academy reviews, and Jay was trying to get me back on all the time. And the only reason I started doing it again was for Jay, because I do enjoy doing the videos of him. We have a good laugh, and I always go away, smiling. But once again, the trouble is with Paddock FC on Saturdays, that's when United under 18s play, so I'm missing the games, and I don't want to be a fraud. There's plenty out there who comment on things who've not seen it, who just want the moment of fame. But I do it because I enjoy it. I do Jay a favour, but I'll only do it if I've seen the games, not necessarily in person, but if I've seen it on TV or a recording of it. But I'm not one to sulk if I've not seen it. I don't think that's right.
Yeah. Well, look, whether you're on camera or if I do meet you in person or whatever it may be, if you guys are watching and you run into Dave, don't bother him. Just show him love from far away. Be like, Dave, hey, and then that's it. Don't get too close. Don't bother him. But anyways, Dave, appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. For the people who don't know who you are, where can they come find you if they want more Dave Pritt?
They can find me. Well, I'm on like Stretford Paddock's YouTube channel doing the Academy Views of Jay. If you want to follow me on social media, which it's up to you whether you do or not, on Instagram it's at David Pritt, and on Twitter it's at David J Pritt, because someone sold it at David Pritt and they don't even tweet anything. They don't even follow anyone. It's hoping Elon Musk deletes it so I can have it.
Dave, I appreciate you. I'm sure you're extremely busy. Thank you so much for coming on, my man.
No, I really enjoyed it. Thanks so much, John.
Yeah, sorry. Take it easy.
Cheers.